who are joining, welcome to the webinar. We're going to get started in a few minutes. We'll try and start it exactly at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I keep people waiting. So thank you for joining in.
Yeah, absolutely. The standing room only today.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is definitely a good one to have, Jonathan. I mean, I had some people reaching out to me that couldn't make it, that had previously registered to show up today, and they wanted to make sure I send them the PowerPoint and go over with them at a different time. So Condor is still a very, very hot item. So yeah, it's long overdue.
Yep. Well,
like this.
Luckily, we're going to record this webinar. We could, anybody who's also in attendance wants to share it with somebody else or wants to see it again, obviously, it'll be available for them for use. It'll be either up on our website or on our YouTube page, and will be available.
Right.
Great.
How many we got now? I think it might be.
I think it's our time.
Yeah, let's jump into it. I'm sure people are still going to be jumping in, but
sure.
Like you said, it's recorded. So first off, thank you everyone that's jumping on. We always appreciate you taking some time out of your Friday to join us. We're going to go over the Condor today. Our theme with the Condor is it saves conference rooms. So we will talk today about how we're going to save conference rooms with the Condor, what types of conference rooms it saves, and you know, some of those features that make it such a unique product.
Great.
So what you see here are some regular conference rooms. I wouldn't say they're all like this, but there are some like this. And this is what needs saving. So these very, very cluttered environments are what the Condor was developed to address. And it addresses this mostly in the soft codec space. So when we talk about the Condor and where it fits, our goal is to declutter the conference room table. And that means removing the audio for your video conferencing, because that's what the Condor provides. And we'll talk about it more, but it also has a built-in zip line. So we also want to take that conference phone off your table. So at the end of the day, all you should have on your table is maybe a mouse or a keyboard. But as far as audio is concerned, we want the Condor to kind of take all of that off the table and clean things up and help with other things like cable management.
Yep, exactly. I'll just add to that, you know, again, just the sole purpose of the product from Phoenix Audio's point of view was the ability just to declutter conference rooms. There are so many use cases out there, whether it's small huddle rooms, large conference rooms, where have to wire cables to the table or just the physical presence of them could be disturbing to the collaboration environment. So having the option of having a solution that gets that off the table for you, then that's what the Condor does. So if you're ever run into a situation where that's what you would like to do in your collaboration space, then this is the webinar for you. So that's why we wanted to start with it.
And Jonathan, I think it's important to mention too, what do you say to somebody that comes to you and says, you know, the customer doesn't mind having a conference phone on the table. They don't mind having audio on the table. Where do you go from there?
So at that point, you know, for anybody who attended last month's webinar when we talked about our Spider is ideal for that. Again, I think the starting point for the Condor, outside of its great audio quality and extra features that we're going to go over, it's to address that form factor of getting stuff off the table, which with different transitions and changes that are happening within collaboration spaces, it's becoming more and more of a requirement and request for those spaces.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at this Condor. So here's the Condor in all of its glory. It's about 48 inches long. So any TV, I would say just 99% of the TVs that are going to go into a conference room, the Condor really complements them very well. It's very sleek looking, and it fits into the room and the space well. It has 15 microphone elements, and I like to point out that it is not a speaker. So we like to get that out there right away. A lot of people call it the sound bar and this and that because it's kind of shaped like one, but there is only microphones. It is built to utilize, and we'll talk about more later on, but it's built to utilize your TV speakers or a sound bar or ceiling speakers or whatever it is you have. All right?
Fantastic.
So what kind of scenarios does the Condor solve in this space? So we showed you some of those pictures that create that clutter-free conference room table. So that would be number one. You have a customer that says, for whatever reason, we don't want anything on the table. The Condor is here to save the day. It can also be an alternative to purchasing an expensive, fully integrated room. And we do have other solutions. We have our Smart Spider that you can mount on the ceiling as well. But as far as simplicity is concerned, if you just want to put something up at the wall where the TV is, and take everything off the table and not worry about cable management, because for one reason or another, maybe a customer doesn't have a conduit, maybe they don't want clunky over the floor raceway hiding wires that go to the table, maybe they're not allowed to because of OSHA. Whatever the case is, the Condor will work perfectly fine. It will also at the same time save you a bunch of money. And then lastly, it's a very good solution for an AV video cart, and I'll go ahead and I won't steal the show. I'll let Jonathan kind of talk about why we love it so much with the mobile video cart.
Yeah, I think the mobile AV cart again is something that is becoming more and more prominent within our industry and within solutions. It used to be very, I would say, popular in the past, kind of died down with a lot more installed solutions. But because of we'll call it the evolution of open spaces and different collaboration areas, you need something that allows you to bring video conferencing to any space within an office. So having an AV cart that you can include everything within it now, and always the biggest problem over there was audio. How am I going to put audio that can be mobile to any space? Having something like the Condor, which you can just mount easily on an AV cart, is something that is really becoming more and more popular. And we're going to show a few examples of that as well down the road. I can also even just share with you that you guys could take note that very soon there's even going to be an AV cart that'll even be designed with mounting the Condor available very soon. Very well designed as well. And once that's available, obviously we'll share it, and it will be, I believe, in the next few weeks already. You'll be able to see it. Yeah, beautiful cart coming out. I'm very excited about that purposely built cart for the Condor in the soft codec space. It's going to be fantastic. So now that we know kind of what scenarios the Condor is going to solve, let's talk about the features. Everybody always wants to know about the features, and the Condor is definitely not short in that department. Starting with the feature of decluttering the conference environment, it is powered by USB, so that becomes very convenient for our customers because we're generally talking about rooms that have some type of mini PC on the back of the TV, so everything's right there. It has a pickup range of up to 30 feet. If you go on our YouTube channel, you'll see many demos done in this room where we're talking up against this wall behind me. It's about 26 feet away from the Condor. Picks it up beautifully. It has a built-in SIP phone, so that's huge. You use our dialer, so we have a dialing application that you can just put right here on your cell phone. You can put it on an iPad, a tablet. That's generally what we see people do. And you can dial from there. So like we said, you take the conference table off the phone. It has dual connectivity, as do all of our products. This happens to be between SIP and USB. It uses our beamforming technology, and it easily mounts to the wall or an AV cart. So now we'll take a deeper dive into some of these features. And ooh, there's another conference room table, Jonathan. Why don't you go ahead and take this one? Yeah, well, I think we really focused on this point, and the only reason we're doing that is because it is, it's a huge pain point for so many users out there. Designing conference rooms is not easy, and using them also after that is not easy as well. Having clean environments that are easier to use is just important for everybody, and the Condor really helps achieve that. So many, huddle spaces, conference rooms are now. People come in with their own laptops, come in with their own notepads, whatever they need to be writing on and working off of, and you need that space on the table. You don't want them to have to run into cables, worry about how do I activate this device that's over here, and so on and so forth. So having something that gets everything off the table really helps to manage the rooms a lot better and to use them a lot more. So those are the two, I would say, key features that we see happen as a result of really cleaning off the table and keeping things really nice and clean for installers and end users alike.
Absolutely. Hey, Jonathan, it looks like we got a question here. They want to know, how well does the Condor pick up if somebody's sitting in the front of the room versus the back of the room?
So something that's really cool about the Condor is the Condor when designing the product, we took in consideration not only somebody sitting up close in the room at the front of a table, but actually right up front in front of the device, something like a interactive whiteboard. So if you have somebody presenting over there, we wanted to be able to pick him up more or less like somebody who's standing 20, 25 feet away. So to achieve that, we have, the product has multiple beams that are designed to cover all the different areas throughout a conference room. And one of those areas that we took into consideration is the close proximity. So we have what we call a close proximity beam as well, which is designed to pick up somebody who's standing closer to the screen in comparison to somebody who's farther away. So to the question, they will sound almost more or less the same. We're able to achieve that through kind of the secret sauce of the product. Having that type of interaction with the product in a collaboration space was something that was very important to us and was achieved with the product as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think I'll just add on that. If anybody really wants to actually hear that as well, you can go to our YouTube channel at any point. We have a bunch of videos with demos of all of our products in the same room, so you can even make comparisons. So you can hear how somebody sounds from a Condor in close proximity, far proximity with our spiders, and we even recently added a ceiling mounting version, but that's off topic from today. But go to our YouTube channel and you can check it out over there.
Gotcha. And then there's one more, look like from a previous page, of what do those blue lights indicate. And I'll take this. This is one of my favorite things about the Condor, as well as the spider. So if you saw our spider, it has these blue LED lights underneath the hood. And so what these do is these indicate if the microphone's picking you up or not. So with our beamforming technology, the mics will steer towards you. And the Condor, if you're speaking to the Condor, there's 4 lights that will indicate which microphones are picking you up. And this is especially important with the Condor because people have a tendency to want to yell. Or maybe not yell, but speak louder when they're 20 feet away from the Condor. So if you're speaking in your regular voice, hopefully you are, a blue light will be pointing towards you, letting you know that I can hear you. You don't have to yell at me, much like the spider does. So very valuable tool, just to let you know that you're being heard.
Awesome.
So next we want to talk a little bit about our dual connectivity. With Phoenix Audio, all of our products have some sort of dual connectivity. We always start with USB. We really believe in this soft codec space, and where video conferencing, it's not really headed there anymore, it's here. So first and foremost, the Condor is a USB device that will work with whatever video conferencing solution you are using. And secondly, the Condor has a built-in SIP line. So you can make SIP calls by itself, just use it as your regular conference phone. Most of our customers, I would say, usually have some type of dedicated tablet or iPad that has our SIP dialer, which I think we'll show you in a second here. That's free to download, and you can control the unit from there, the volume, sensitivity. You can integrate your contacts, all these things, and you can do that from your phone. It just has to be on the same network. And then something that's very useful beyond that, if you're on a video conferencing call like Jonathan and I are on now, you can just dial from that app and you can bridge somebody into the call at the same time. So a lot of use cases with that. Anything you want to add there, Jonathan?
No, I think that's perfect. Again, if we go back to wanting to clean up conference rooms, you have to be able to get the phone off the table as well. Different applications have out there, different dialing options, even something through the software. But it's very prominent that in conference rooms you have a SIP phone line or something that's able to cover the complete room, or an access to that room, I meant. And the Condor allows you to still have your SIP phone in your room, plus the ability to have your video conferencing audio solution off the table.
Right.
I'll just add, even in addition to that, like kind of it's mentioned over here, you can bridge between the two as well. So now it's not even 2 different platforms through our hardware. You're able to combine those 2 different platforms into one and have one call with both different interfaces all in one product.
Right. Absolutely. So large audio pickup. We talked about this. In an acoustically sound room. Let's take this room for example. So this room, we're surrounded by about 70%, maybe 65% glass walls. It is not acoustically treated. The Condor is almost touching the ceiling, and I can speak in a regular voice 26 feet away from the Condor, and you can hear me perfectly fine. And it's just about the same if I was standing, 3 feet in front of the Condor. That's how good the pickup is. It is not exaggerated in any way. So this thing can cover these kind of longer conference rooms. So I would say generally a conference room is about 15 by 30 feet, right? 15 by 25 feet. And then where do you go with your video conferencing pickup from here? Who do you use that can cover a room like this without having to go to that mixer and those ceiling mics and stuff like this? Because it's a long room, right? So maybe one device in the center of the room isn't enough to pick up everybody, and the Condor really handles that quite well. And this is kind of the image I like to point out as well, as far as wrong versus right, which is that decluttered conference room we saw a moment ago. And then look at this room right here. Beautiful. Nothing on the table. And that's kind of gives you an example of what we would like the Condor to achieve for you. The built-in SIP line we mentioned earlier. So this is very simple. You just go to the App Store, Android, iOS. We even have a PC dialer as well. But it's free to download, and it will control your phone calls for the Condor. Anything to add there, Jonathan? I feel like we kind of covered it earlier, but
I think we covered it, pretty accurately. Again, I think each organization at the end of the day just makes their kind of decision of how they want to dial it. It's all about what makes most sense for your users. So if having it on the same PC that's running the video conferencing software, then you can put the dialer over there. We have that option. If you'd like everybody to be able to walk into a conference room and access the Condor from their own personal phone, which has its own advantages, because then you can also link it up with your own phone book and stuff of that sort, then that's an option that we provide as well. Or if just having a dedicated tablet in the room to do dialing through there, that's also something that we've seen many users do. So I think it was very important for us to give that flexibility, just allow every user, because at the end of the day, it's all about the users and how they're interacting with the products and what is easiest, and you have to educate them the least amount to actually be able to use it. So all three options are on the table: dedicated device in the room, put it on the PC, or we'll allow everybody to use their own mobile device, but and all work great. So just use whatever makes most sense for you.
And Jonathan, we do have a question. So if you have multiple Condors in an area, then how does the app pick up the different, or tell the difference between the Condors?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So all you need to do is, as long, you need to have our device on that same network as the Condor. So as long as it's connected to the Wi-Fi or has a hard connection for the PC. And you'll have a list of all the products that are on your network of the Phoenix Audio products, and you just select the one that you want, and that's it. You're dialing through it. So it's about a 3-second process to get the one that you want and dial from that room.
Right. If I understood it correctly, it sounds like so how do you differentiate them though? So you can name them.
Of course, yes.
You can name the Condor.
So each Condor in the product settings, in the SIP settings, you can name that extension. It's just like any extension in on a SIP registry. So you can do conference room 1, conference room 2, conference room 3, or if you have different names, and you just see that list, you pick your room, and you're done. That's it.
All right, and then one more really good question is, can you password protect them? So absolutely you can. It's very important if you take an office like ours where Jonathan he actually has a spider in his office. A couple other people have spiders, so you don't want anybody to just jump on Jonathan's spiders and start making calls, prank calls. Because in our office that would happen. As far as I understood, it maybe has happened in the past. So you can password protect it, and you don't have to worry about any funny business on your conference phone.
Thank you, Zach.
So obviously, I'm sure you guys have already heard. You heard the features. I have to imagine some of you have already ordered a Condor. If you don't already have one, maybe you got expedited shipping and it's arriving at your house right now. So we'll let you know what's going to come in the box. What will come in the box is a USB cable. It'll be 10 feet in length. It also comes with a 5-volt power supply. This is used. Some of our customers maybe aren't doing video conferencing, so they only use it for telephony. So in that case, you would just use the USB to the power supply to power the unit. That's if they don't accept PoE, because you can power the unit there as well. It comes with 2 mounting options. These come in the box. So one of those mounting options are going to be a wall mounting bracket. It clips into the Condor, kind of cradles it, and then you can screw it directly into the wall. And the second one would just be a stand. So it clips into the same area. And you have 2 different options. You can do like a more narrow, more on the outer edges of the Condor. And then you can just set it on some credenza or stand you have underneath your TV. And then I do like to mention there is one additional mounting bracket that we have used. There's a video on our YouTube channel that you can go check out, Phoenix Audio Technologies, of us installing the Condor to like a soundbar bracket. So that way, if you have a mobile video card, or maybe you don't have a wall glass behind the TV, you can actually mount the Condor basically directly to the TV. All right?
Fantastic.
The different connections. Jonathan, you want to cover the connections real quick? Just jam through them.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think the first and foremost thing that it's just important to point out is that, as we stated earlier, the Condor is solely a microphone, and for that reason, we have all the relevant connectivity options, or all the necessary connectivity options, better said, to connect to any type of speaker that you'd like. So whether it's an analog speaker, it can be a digital type speaker that has an optical connectors that we're able to connect to, or even utilize the speakers that are built into your TV and utilize that as a speaker with the Condor as well. So all those options are available. If you ever want to see exactly what you need, we have a great user manual that goes through all the different options one by one. I'm not going to bore you with the specific details right now, but it's just important that you know you can connect to anyone that you would like. Obviously, in addition to that, you have your USB connection, which it can get power through, that connects to your video conferencing application, and it has the Ethernet connection, and that's for your SIP phone line. In addition to that, I'm just going to mention one more connector that you have, which is our analog out. Analog out, that is simply to utilize our Condor as a microphone with different video codecs that are out there. So for example, let's say you have a Cisco codec or a Polycom or life-size codec that you would like to use the Condor because of its ability to remove the microphone off the table and connect into that codec device. We have an analog out that you can connect directly into that device. Basically, the analog out is the microphone pickup of our device that you can send into the codec through a simple analog cable. So those are the connectors. Again, you have your optical, you have your analog for different PA systems or analog speakers, and then you have your USB and Ethernet. So it's pretty straightforward. And what's most important to take from it, again, you can utilize any speaker you want with the Condor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. We actually did have a question come in that asked if we could connect this to a codec, so that is answered. And we have one more. If placed on the network, can you use the configuration software to modify the unit via network?
So I'm not sure what exact the question is to modify the unit via the network, but through our app, you are able to control different aspects of the product, like the microphone sensitivity and stuff of that sort. So those type of things are controllable through, say, through the network. But the SIP connection, the Ethernet connection, it's just like any other SIP phone. So anything that you're able to do with any standard, I would say, SIP phone that's on your network, you are able to do also with the Condor and modify that as well. So give it the extensions, give it phone numbers. Again, play with different settings, give it a contact book, a contact directory. All those stuff are available and can be provided on the Condor. through the network.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Jonathan, I did want to mention as well with the analog out, just briefly touch on it, but you can also connect the Condor to an octopus. Maybe something you didn't want me to share, but we have tested it, and it's come up. Questions have been asked, so we are still experimenting with that. But just so you guys know, we are working on that and more details to come. So some use cases here. We just wanted to grab a couple pictures. Question often comes up. Should I mount the Condor below the TV, above the TV? And it just absolutely does not matter. Like I mentioned to you in this room, the Condor is almost touching the ceiling. So one would think not too ideal, but I can't tell you how many demos I've done in this room and ended up selling a Condor because of how well it sounded. So it doesn't matter. And here you can see there's a Condor below the TV on the left, and there they utilize the TV speakers. On the right, you have a Condor above the TV, and there you can see they utilize the soundbar, which actually would be a recommended setup, I would say. Very cost effective, and you get really good audio for, out of like $100 soundbar. We have some recommendations we could shoot out as well on what soundbars that we know work, even though just about all of them work.
Awesome.
Another use case that we mentioned earlier is the mobile video cart. So here you have this kind of like just all-in-one solution with the Condor where you roll this cart into a room and you do not have to take whatever audio device you're using and pick it up and drag it across the table, which means you have cables you have to manage and wrap up, and it just can look messy, can be cumbersome, and if you bring it into a conference room this size, you're not going to be able to cover the whole room with audio like anybody would want with a quality video conferencing call. So the Condor gives you the ability to not have to move anything around. All you're going to do is have the cables coming out of the back of the mobile video cart, probably power a network, and then it's a done deal. You roll it in, cover a room, a pretty large conference room, really, and there's just really no work on your part. And to show you how large of rooms some people are actually covering with the Condor, here we got a classroom. So giving these kids an option to, do some distance learning with the Condor. Very, very, very simple.
Yeah, I think an important aspect that I touched on a bit earlier is at the end of the day, whenever you have AV carts or conference rooms, you need somebody who's going to be managing it. And when you have an AV cart that's going to be running around between a bunch of different rooms within an organization, it's easier to manage it when you have less hands on the product, nobody touching it. Everything is all included. All they have to do is just turn it on or connect a USB to a laptop in that room, and that's it. Everything is already built into the AV cart, and it really allows to an easy user experience, and I think a productive one. The easier it is, the more they're able to use it, and that I'm sure makes everybody happy within an organization.
Absolutely. All right, well, that brings us to the end. If there's any more questions, feel free to shoot them out in the next very, very quickly. I think we actually finished a couple minutes early, Jonathan, which is not like you and I. Usually we're more on the couple minutes late side of things because we get excited about these products. So yeah, I would say some key takeaways regarding the Condor is one is it's a purposely built device to declutter the conference room. We generally lead with our spiders. The spiders can cover larger rooms because of the daisy chaining. Speakers end up being closer to the microphone. But if you have somebody that says, look, I don't want anything on the table, please tell me you have a solution like that. Well, now you do. Some of you might be wondering, how much does the Condor cost? It's $1,500 MSRP, that's $1,500. So very, very competitively priced. So competitively priced, I don't see a competitor out there at the moment.
Yep, great. Well, since we're in our last moments of the webinar, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everybody who attended. If you have any questions that come up later, feel free to reach out either to myself or, of course, to Zach, and we'd be more than happy to answer. We will make a recording available for those who attended and for those who you can pass on to those who weren't able to attend. And again, I think I'd just like to thank you for your time. We don't take it for granted that you spent 30 minutes with us today, and have a wonderful weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining, everybody. We'll catch you next time.